Hey guys, it's Heidi. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Today I'm doing a little demo with Inktense on this page from American Gods. I'm not going to show the entire page, just a little bit of it, but it is a stormy scene, like in a thunderstorm, lightning storm. And so what I'm doing here is doing the base for the sky, which I wanted to make a, like a kind of a greeny gray sort of stormy base. And then I'm planning on going over everything with regular colored pencils after I do the base. So what I'm using here is Ionian green. Before I started, I tested out on a separate piece of paper different combinations of greens and grays together, and to see what I liked and what I didn't like, and to see if the I don't know, the lightness or darkness was to my taste, make sure I wasn't coloring too hard or too soft to get the result that I wanted. So what I found was that what I liked for this was Ionian green with some Payne's gray over the top. So I'm doing a first light layer. I'm doing just a really light layer, if you can't tell, with that Ionian green, and then pretty soon here I'll go back over it with the Payne's gray. And if you haven't used Inktense, you might not know that it's very, very pigmented. It's very colorful. So when you put it down, you don't need much to get a really vivid result. So that is why I'm going so lightly with it, because I don't want to have a super dark layer here. I'm going for a light layer that I can just use as my base, and then go in and refine it with pencil after that. So here I'm doing another light layer, not all over, just I'm kind of trying to vary the color a little bit by picking and choosing different areas to go over. So yeah, not too much to say about this. I guess. And then what I'm going to do is go in with a Tombow colorless blender. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just making little circular motions, as you can see, and activating the pigment. And I found that for me, this is a better way to do it than using a brush, especially for like a larger area like this, because it seems to use less water. It doesn't buckle the paper as much. And especially on this paper that I'm using in this book, American Gods, the paper is not super thick. So I really wanted to make sure that it didn't wet the paper too much. And I also find that it gives me a really nice, even layer of color, whereas sometimes when I use a brush with water, like with watercolor, the result is a little bit more patchy. So I like to use this method quite a lot. I actually was planning on going over this entire sky, including the lightning bolts, right to the right of the section I'm coloring, and then go back over the lightning bolts with white Posca or something like that. But I actually forgot to do that, and I'm just doing most of the sky and ignoring the lightning bolts, and that's okay. I mean, it'll work this way as well. Probably better if I'm not doing an entire big area like that. So now I'm going to go back in with, oops, sorry about that, the Ionian green. And I'm just doing the same thing again, coloring with the pencil on its side, kind of, don't have to tell you guys how to do it. You probably already know how to do that. I haven't colored in this book. I've had this book for a couple years, and I haven't colored in it at all. I keep looking at the pages from time to time and feel a little bit, I don't know, a little bit daunted by some of the images there. A lot of people, a lot of complicated, busy images, and with like different light effects that I don't feel super confident with. So this is my first page in this book. I thought I would just finally tackle it. And so I chose to do this sky as the first part of my page, because I knew that I wanted it to be sort of a greeny, stormy sky. And that will maybe help me feel out what I want to do with the rest of the page. And I'm planning to do, I don't know, maybe the crow in kind of, well, I don't know, bluey black, maybe, with some green in it, possibly. And the ship, it's a Viking longboat that you can see there with the dragon's head. So I'll probably try to do that in dark browns. And there's some clouds up in the top left of the page that you can't see at the moment. I'm going to do those in dark, stormy grays. And I'm going back in with my second layer. I think I'm going to show you trying to show you. And I bumped the camera a little, sorry. The Payne's Gray that I'm using. Trying to keep it light here. Speaking of Inktense, I'm waiting for my 28 new colors to come in the mail. I got tired of waiting for them to show up at Blick, and I just ordered them about a week ago, a little more than a week, from the UK, and I'm waiting for those to arrive, so I'm very excited. But in the meantime, we'll make do with the colors that we have. You can make lighter colors by just using light layers. Many of the existing colors of Inktense are quite dark, but you can work with them and get lighter shades just by, coloring with a lighter touch. And I think many of the newer colors are kind of bright too, bright and bold. I guess they're all bright and bold. It's Inktense. Another thing is that the Tombow colorless blender that I'm using is a little bit, it's drying out just a little bit, so it's not as juicy as a new one, and that helps too because it's, a little bit less moisture going down onto the page. So sometimes it can be to your advantage to have a pen that's a colorless blender that's starting to dry up a little. Okay, so I'm getting near the end of this process here, and just gonna stop here. But hope you enjoyed watching this process. Hope it was helpful. Maybe I'll come back after the whole thing is done and maybe show you some of my pencil work on the sky. And I'm back. I'm just using some polychromos. I've sped up this clip to 2 times the speed, so it's not quite as long. And I'm using chromium green oxide here. I just wanted to show how I go over the base of Inktense. So my plan is to go over this with a few different colors. I've got this color of green, and I also picked out a few other colors that I will probably be holding up and showing. I think I have a Payne's gray. What else did I use? I don't remember anymore. But as you can see, up in the left corner, I did the clouds in the meantime. And I did it the same way as the base of the sky. I used a couple of different colors of Inktense. I used a Payne's gray and a neutral gray, I think. And maybe a blue. A deep indigo, I think it was. And I just did a little bit of color, just a very light layer, and then went over it with the colorless blender. And I did that because I wanted to see how the clouds were going to look before I chose the colors that I wanted for the sky, because I kind of feel like they blend together up there at the top. So I'm using dark indigo here. And I'm not really too sure what look I'm going for yet. I'm just kind of feeling it out. I think I want it to be sort of a dark bluey green up at the top there, going into the clouds. I'm trying to do just sort of like a random, a little bit patchy look. So I'm kind of skipping some areas and coloring in some areas very lightly. I'll probably do a lot of light layers with this whole page. I'm planning on doing a base of Inktense with all the elements in the page, and then going back over with pencil like I'm showing you. And the finished page of this should be in my completed pages for September, if anyone is curious about the end result. Go check that out. I'm also thinking about how I'm going to do the highlights, because we have a thunderstorm here. It's going to be, there are flashes of light, and I'm going to have a lot of light going on, and I haven't quite figured out what I want to do yet for that. I'm thinking of maybe trying some pan pastel to get some bright white in. Possibly Posca, maybe both. I'm not quite sure yet what I'm going to do with that. So, as you can see, it's looking a little bit better, I think. It is, I'm just trying to go for, that sort of, I don't know. All I can think of is patchy sky with different areas of green and blue and gray. Just to make it look a little bit more realistic. We've also got some water coming off of the ravens, as you can see. And I haven't decided what I'm going to do with that yet. I need to figure out how I'm going to convey. Let's see, what color have I got? I actually didn't catch what color this was. A dark blue or a gray of some sort. So this clip is, okay, that's a cold gray. I'm trying to get a little bit of a lighter, some lightness in some areas. And this clip is not the whole coloring the sky. This is just the beginning of it. I just wanted to give you an idea of what I do after putting down the initial coat. So we're done here. Thank you for watching. Hope this was helpful. Bye.